I put it there so. We're going to start in a few minutes, folks, but I'll wait until more people get here.
Oh, and
I'm trying to remember the stuff that
I'm
in your
gonna tell you,
face
there's
when you talk.
2,481 memberships.
I've heard the comments so many times, that's why I try to do it.
2,481 memberships. And 10% would be
248.
2481.
I know why they said that, it's the sunshine in there. This isn't the right report. John.
10%, so it'd be 20. That's what they gave us.
I know why you guys are down there, it's the sunshine.
Thank you so much.
And I know the script's well, but I'm not sure about ad-lib either.
It's hard to see it in the sun.
Testing.
It's on.
Testing. Is everybody awake out there? I want to make sure everybody's awake. Everybody that is awake, don't say anything. Somebody's got to make some noise here.
And wait a minute, your hand thing? Yes. Bill Deacon.
And
Guess nobody here is wearing masks. Nobody's wearing masks.
don't kick me. Yeah, that's right, she was doing that this week. Oh, okay, well.
Donnie?
Yes.
I'm telling him to make me behave.
Make sure.
You behave. Okay.
Did they give the wrong report?
No, there was a different summary that I wanted. Schedule.
Yeah. There's Benita back there. You need Benita?
No, Pat had one. But this,
Pat?
do you have that report that you had? What? That financial report?
Huh?
That's not the same one you have, is it?
There's two sides.
All right, now this makes sense.
I would recommend not doing it this morning. Okay. Oh, that's fine. Because then, there's a lot of people, I've got 53 names I'm gonna read. Oh, okay. And we're gonna have hurt feelings.
That's fine, that's fine. Tents everywhere in the rain.
I mean, yes, they liked me because I was smart.
Amazing.
It was.
Well, this one teacher I had,
And I still remember both sides came up and thanked me.
I think it was some, oh yes, it was all a girl. And his name was Gary Glenn. He tormented that girl.
Yeah,
It was, I think it was typing.
we still use them.
Yeah, he tormented, that was the old typewriters, I was real good at. But, I mean, everything was brilliant.
Mitchell, no,
Oh, back then.
Because he was
It
bald.
wasn't Judy. It was.
anyway,
Yeah.
I said, do not respond to any question. Do not say anything that's not in the script.
We're going to start in a few minutes, folks. So please start taking your seats. We're going to start in a few minutes, folks. Please start taking a seat.
Oh, that is my mouth. Well,
I couldn't remember whether I buckle up where they were not, but my brother-in-law and sister-in-law knew that they're not even in
Now you, Rusty,
Oh,
set
yes.
them out.
Hey. That when I get into whatever craft work and it ends up being
Crap.
I know.
Is that bees around his head?
We're gonna have to ask him that when this is over.
I am not gonna speak.
Speaking.
is that a different one or not?
No, this will work. I mean, this is the button. I saw the attack dog.
Who, mine? Yeah, he's a real attack dog.
A bruiser.
Testing. Whoever's picked on that animal is going to be in trouble because I'm going to call it cruelty to animal people.
Let's begin. Let's begin. Good morning, Port Susan.
It's not working.
Broke it already.
Of course, we've got a mechanical glitch, but testing. Okay. I was explaining to Jacob before the thing when he was running around trying to make sure everything was fine that like any good plan, it's only as good as the first bullet crosses your face. So something always goes wrong. Well, welcome, Port Susan members, to this beautiful Memorial Day. And before we formally start this meeting, I'd like to say that we must remember why we're here aside from the meeting. This is Memorial Day. We're here to memorialize our fallen veterans, and we want to thank them for their service. So could we pause for a minute and thank our veterans? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Now, before I start, I want to explain a couple of things. You will see me, by the way, I'm Bill Diepenbrock. I'm the president of your board of directors. You will see me referring to this during the meeting. It's a script, and the script is provided by our parliamentarian, Ann McCartney. When we're doing this formal meeting, we have to do it in a certain way at a certain pace and time. So that's what's going on here. Everybody understand? Everybody happy and smiling on a beautiful day like this? Right? Okay. Okay. Before I call the meeting to order, as Ann pointed out, by the way, before I call the meeting to order, I want to remind you that the voting electronically will continue until 11 o'clock, 11 a.m., and I will announce the closing of the voting at that time. Since we are voting electronically, we're hoping to get results to announce later in the meeting instead of this interminable wait that we went through years before. Okay. Now, am I allowed to? Okay. The 2021 annual meeting of the Port Susan Camping Club will come to order. The opening prayer will be given by Corey Owens. Corey, are you around? Here he comes.
So the prayer this morning is a prayer of thanksgiving. We've been through an awfully dark time, and it's nice to sit in the sunlight, isn't it? I've already seen a bunch of faces of people I can't remember their names. I apologize. I'm getting old. My brains don't work like they used to. But it is so wonderful just to see neighbors, friends, and family that are the Chapel family or the Port Susan family. And I'm just thankful to be here today. So if you'll bow your heads with me, we're going to pray a prayer of thanksgiving for the opportunity just to be here together today. Father, we praise you. We thank you so much for this opportunity to come together and to talk about important things. But we just are grateful for the sunshine. We're grateful for the opportunity to smile and laugh with one another, even to get fat by eating a donut. And Lord, I just pray that you will bless this time, and that you'll be honored and glorified by all the things that we say and do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. A number of park members, regrettably, have passed away these past 2 years, and our vice president of the board will read a list of those who left us.
Hi. Hi. Is this working? Hi.
Now it is.
Is it working now? Okay. I'm going to do, first of all, May 2019. I'm going to do 2 years worth. From May 2019 through April 2020 is
Closer to the mic, baby.
okay. That's the dates that will be covered. Paulette Youngstad, Dennis Drew Larson, Kenneth Schachtel, Georgetta Bach, Danny Fisher, Valerie Mae Jensen, Lloyd Whitall, Ivan Lund, Wichita O'Banion, Mary Leona Glenn, Leola Graff, Dennis D. Selms, Denise Mallory, David Kimball Joran, Helen Phillips, Janet Ann Bruner, Stephen Holden, Ronald Albert Halverson, Charlene Ergler, William Curtis Miller, Michael Abelson, Joanne Reed, Linda Petro, Gary Burnham, Darren Melhart, Roy Eccles, William Holm, Joan Lorenzen, Christopher McKay, Ron McCurlin, Edward Millard, Charles Woldridge, Kirsten Pallas, Jimmy Knight, Calvin Phillips, Alta Hofstetter, Gregory Klein, Fred Jones, Larry McGee, Don Stalder, Robert Stendera, Nancy Haworth, Victor Koenig, or Koenig, I don't know, one of the two, Denise Vreeberg, Miles Hargett, Timothy Samariga, Barbara Lennington, James Hinkle, Ann Greenia, Sharon Jones, Betty Stendera, Martin Cocking, and Tom Rattan.
Thank you, Deb. Does anyone have any additional names to add to the list? No one? We'll now take a full minute pause to think about our past members. Thank you. Now, these are the real opening remarks. I am Bill Diepenbrock, as I said before, president of the board of your directors, your board of directors, and I'll be chairing this meeting. Sitting with me are other board members. Deb Axman, our vice president, Bill Elder, at the other end, our secretary, Dean Hunter, raise your hand, Dean, our treasurer, Jenny Ramos and Don Hatch, our tribal representatives, sitting there with Terrell Riley. Don Hatch is to my right. Scott Murphy is to my...
No, Don White.
I said Donnie White.
You said Don Hatch.
I'm sorry. Don White. How can I forget Don? Scott Murphy and Nancy Phillips. I want to remind the board and the members that this is a meeting of the general membership, not a meeting of the board of directors. We placed board members up front so that the membership can see them, but they are participating here in the meeting just like ordinary members of Port Susan Camping Club. Unless they're giving a report or have been asked by the chair to respond to a particular question, any board member wishing to speak may approach the floor microphone as any member does. And if that becomes awkward, they can sit where they are. Also sitting with the board is our general manager, Pat Jute, in front. Raise your hand, Pat. And on my right is our parliamentarian, as I've mentioned before, Dr. Ann McCartney, who's a professional registered parliamentarian with the National Association of Parliamentarians and is a certified parliamentarian with the American Institute of Parliamentarians. And if I say parliamentarian again, I'm going to cry. She will assist me with the meeting as the meeting procedures, as you've seen her do already. I'd like to introduce in alphabetical order the members running for the 3 positions on the board of directors. Please stand as I call your name and remain standing. Randy Berry. Randy Berry. Stacy Coldry. Stacy? That's not Stacy. I guess Stacy isn't here. Tom Hembry? There. Judy Johnson. Judy's not here. Oh, there she is. She's in back of Tom. Scott Murphy. Nancy Phillips. And Terrell Riley. Thank you, Terrell. On behalf of all the members of Port Susan Camping Club, I want to thank all of you for your willingness to serve the membership. How about a round of applause? The first item of the business is to ascertain if a quorum is present. At present, there are 2,481 memberships outstanding. The quorum requirement is 10% of the memberships, which is, let's say, 249 being present. I don't have a number of members who have registered today, but it's clear that there are not 249 people sitting out there. So I'm going to propose that there is not a quorum present. This means we cannot take any other action than the election, and we continue with reports and take member comments and report the results of the election. The annual meeting is considered to have been held even though there wasn't a quorum. So this is an official meeting. It's just that we can't bring motions from the floor. If a quorum had been present, as Ann points out, if a quorum had been present, we would have been considered the adoption of standing rules at this time, but because we can take no action without a quorum, we cannot adopt the rules. As your chair, I will generally follow these rules in our time together. So I will read as a reminder what these rules should be. And then we don't need to adopt them, I guess. No, okay. The 12th edition of Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised, shall govern this meeting in all parliamentary situations, see that word again, that are not provided for in the laws or the charter of the bylaws. In order to maintain decorum and in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order newly revised, members will address their remarks to the chair and to other members through the chair. Wait to be recognized before speaking. Maintain a courteous tone. Avoid injecting a personal note into debate. Refrain from attacking or questioning a member's motives. Generally avoid the use of a member's name. For example, say the members who spoke first or whatever. Refrain from disturbing the business of the assembly. And that goes for anyone sitting in here. In order to maintain the chair's position of impartiality and to help to preserve an objective and impersonal approach, the chair will be addressed as Mr. President and will speak of himself in the third person. Each registered membership will vote by raising the voting card. Doesn't apply here. Members who want to speak will approach the microphone and wait to be acknowledged by your chair and begin stating their name and membership identification or site number. A member will be entitled to speak up to 2 minutes on any issue, and each time no longer than 3 minutes. To speak a second time on the same issue, a member must wait until those who wish to speak on it the first time have done so. Speaking a third time or longer than 3 minutes will require permission from the assembly. The debate must be germane to the motion or issue that's on the floor. To maintain balance in the discussion, the chair may alternate between proponents and opponents of a motion, which doesn't apply here. Main motions and substantive amendments shall be written and signed by the by the maker and brought to the chair. Again, doesn't apply here. In order to protect the rights of absentees and in accordance with Port Susan bylaws, it gives all power to the board of directors unless otherwise specified in the bylaws. Unscheduled motions, again, this doesn't apply, made in miscellaneous business section of the agenda can be made only as recommendations. And again, recommendations for considerations by your board of directors at our meetings. During the member questions and comments, the method of obtaining the floor and time limits specified in rules 4 and 5 will be in accordance, and we'll keep to those 2-minute, 3-minute things here today. All audible devices, cell phones, pagers, and all recording devices shall be disabled during the meeting, except for the board secretary. The only exceptions will be, of course, the board secretary, who will need to prepare minutes and recordings by law enforcement officers and rangers. Moving right along, as Ann has crossed out a section. There was no meeting in 2020, as you know. That darn old COVID virus got us. So there are no minutes to be presented for corrections. I remind you that the board of directors will serve as the minutes approval committee and will review, correct, and adopt the minutes from the 2021 meeting, so that we will not need to wait a full year to approve the minutes. You will have an opportunity at the 2022 meeting next year, good Lord willing, to review those adopted minutes for any further corrections. Next item of business is the president's report. I will wait until after other reports before my report. The next item of business is the treasurer's report from Treasurer Dean Hunter, and Vanita Gologli is in back to answer questions when we allow questions. Dean?
Hi. I don't know if everybody picked up a treasurer's report. This is the summary of the balance for the year ending 2021, April 2021. Sorry. Can you hear me now? This is the report ending year-end summary through April 2021. There's a lot of information on here. The long and the short of it is our total expenses were a negative $13,252. Net income was a minus $113,000. And then there's the summary for the electrical grid project, which shows negative $822,000, which that's money that the grid project has borrowed from the Port Susan Fund. And part of that monthly fee that we pay as members pays that back once the grid is done. Grid is currently halfway through phase 6. We look to start phase 7 later this year.
Out of total number of phases.
9. Questions?
Okay, let's move on. Next item of business is our park manager, Pat Jute, who will report on the year we've just finished and the year coming up.
Nice to see all of you this morning. We planned rain. I don't know how this happened. So it's been an interesting year. And I sat down and tried to describe it in one word. And what I came up with was exhausting. It's been quite a year for the country, the nation, the world, and of course Port Susan. So Port Susan faced many challenges as the COVID pandemic spread. Overnight going from full operation to a closed quarantine lockup. No guests, the back gate was closed, all park activities canceled, all venues closed, employees reduced to a skeleton crew. None of our decisions were simple, and certainly not without consequences. It seemed every week offered new challenges, and all while being overwhelmed with local and national issues, most of which made little sense. In addition, the hits just kept coming. It has been like watching a slow-motion train wreck. I liken our combined experience to resembling a soap opera, where we are the actors on a worldwide stage, where the plot changes daily, and we all wound up holding our collective breath, only hoping to exhale. Of course, COVID has been the paramount issue with daily devastating news, each of us experiencing firsthand the impact of this virus. We all have stories of family, friends, loved ones lost or separated by COVID, as we will get back, and we will never get back this lost time that we couldn't spend with our family and our friends. COVID, elections, protests, looting, fires, riots, and all too frequent unnecessary deaths dominated our news nightly. I called that exhausting. I read an interesting summation written by 9-year-old Clark Smith of Beverly Hills, Michigan. He said it was like looking both ways before crossing the street and then getting hit by a submarine. The craziest year ever. During all of this, here in Port Susan, we retained a feeling of relative isolation and safety. As the COVID pandemic became better understood, we worked to push the boundaries of the state-imposed limitations so members could peek outside of their campsites and see some daylight. Our staff went back to work on modified schedules, and we presented activities that would fit within tribal, state, and federal restrictions, starting with a campfire chat, followed with a Music in the Park event and cart drive-in late-night movies, meals in the field, and then complimentary, presented by the Port Susan Board of Directors and prepared by volunteers. These meals were Thanksgiving, New Year's, and a fabulous Jesus Loves You Valentine meal hosted by the Port Susan Chapel. At the height of this, we were serving 400 meals and giving something to the park so they knew we were all alive and well and moving forward. I cannot thank enough those of you who came together to plan these events and make and distribute the meals so that members could have just a touch of normalcy. You all gave from the heart. Thank you, and the park thanks you. The chapel, after holding services outside, eventually resumed services inside. Club 50 returned to Taco Mondays, and the adult club more recently sit-down dinners at the club. A devastating fire closed the family center. A rebuild plan was put in place and altogether halted by COVID again. Work progressed slowly. Around the park, we embarked on long-awaited projects to upgrade park-owned structures, roads, pools, water, and other seemingly neglected infrastructure needs. The electrical grid project reached record pace, overtaking the annual assessment, threatening to stop the project. We found ourselves facing nearly $1 million shortfall, requiring a reevaluation of the annual assessment. At our current stride, our 10-year grid project could see completion in as little as 2 more years. The Ranger Gate had earlier been remodeled and set the stage for a future vision of Port Susan. The Port Susan Board of Directors, supporting the much-needed repair and upgrades, approved numerous projects. Baseboard heating, which was part of which contributed to the fire in the family center, dominated most of our buildings. We completed an evaluation and embarked on upgrades to correct the outdated fire hazard. To date, the main gate, the chapel, the back gate all have new HVAC systems, and we're looking at the other buildings remaining, which do have baseboard heating, and those will be taken into account this year. The family center was rewired and corrective steps taken in the process of the rebuild. The family center is beautiful inside. I can't wait for it to be open for all of you to see how much was accomplished there. We refaced and upgraded the laundromat, espresso bar, and the mail center, correcting many issues in the process. The grid project, along with time, had taken its toll on our roads. We have repaved, corrected the worst of the damage and aging asphalt, and plan to continue more each year to upgrade and maintain the road system. Maintenance is building a road crew, and as the weather improves, we will start work on the gravel roads. Maintenance has worked wonders throughout the park, cleaning the undergrowth that has begun to hide the beauty of Port Susan. I thank them all. They have done and contributed to Port Susan. So what's our future look like? What are we talking about this year? We've hung a couple of pictures around. Our first project that we're working on is Club 50. The board has worked with us to plan a future with reserves to support our projects as we look down the road at things that need to be done now and things that need to be done in the future. So we have a 20-year roof on a building, and we're 10 years down the road. 10 years from now, we're going to need to replace that roof. We're trying to plan today for that experience that we'll have in the 10 years and reserve funds so that the funding is there and we don't wind up back into one of these assessment situations like we have on the grid. So the fire, it led us to another consequence. When we went to renew our insurance on the park, the insurer notified us that they would not insure the park any longer. We started scrambling, trying to find other insurers to insure it. No one was interested in insuring Port Susan, and it was impacted a lot by the fires, the wildfires that the West Coast experienced all through California and Oregon, as close to us as Bonnie Lake and the Okanagan. And we fell into that category of that same kind of area. So that experience also contributed to no insurance. We were able to find a carrier who would cover all of our park liabilities, all of our vehicles, all of our equipment, all of the employees' liabilities. The premium went from $75,000 for the entire year for the entire park's insurance to $125,000 for just this liability coverage. We had some other markets that talked to us about insuring the buildings. It was pretty restrictive, pretty high deductibles, and the premium for our main buildings was $300,000. So we made a decision to self-insure. If you look at the statements that you have, you'll find reserve funds. One of those reserves that we've set up is a self-insurance reserve, and we will build that fund as long as we have to continue self-insuring that property. In the development of this fiscal year budget, I established a capital improvement account. This account, funded by monies that long ago had been reserved for infrastructure and repairs. This will become the basis of the account, and then we will build this annual from the annual infrastructure fee and dues normally directed for this same purpose. Upcoming projects and infrastructure requirements will be fueled from this account. We will continue the road upgrades, building improvements, reestablishing the cafe, tree trimming along the main and gravel roads, and continued water and well improvements. And we have well 2 all set up to operate on generators as well 1. We're waiting for the generator for well 2 distribution pumps. And COVID has changed that from on-the-shelf generator, something we can go to the company and ask for, to, at the worst case, a year delivery. So we've been on the list for a while. We're still waiting for the delivery. With the Rangers and maintenance working together, they've completely revamped Storage Lot 1. That's on Potluck. They enlarged the dog park. They brought water and lighting to the facility. Storage Lot 5 is in the same process and should be completed by mid to late June. And Storage Lot 3, the largest, will be next, and we hope to have it completed by midsummer. The storage lots will all be cleaned up, marked correctly, and available for rental. The big goal this year includes completing the Club 50 evaluation and remodel, rebuilding the Club 50 pools, and a make-up air system for the pool area to eliminate the air quality issues that have plagued and threatened the club. The administration building expansion and remodel is in the works. We've posted some pictures of what our concept is. That building today is really in need. It's probably our more scariest location, and we don't meet very many codes with the way the building is set up presently. So this is the one that's coming from me. My heart is that this stage here, we want to replace it. We want to replace it with a permanent structure. We want to develop the play field into an event field, and where we can hold events all summer long. It's here, it's set up. We can do more activities. I love this outdoor venue. When we did the campfire chat, it was, I thought, a much more friendly environment than what we had experienced in the adult club. And I think that we're going to experience good weather for the rest of the summer. It's a great place to meet. And so we've put up some concept pictures of what that stage might look like. It would have a permanent screen in it so we could show drive-in movies and host other events. We're embarking on a evaluation of all the storage sheds and small buildings that we have around the park that we seem to be filling up with things that the park has accumulated over the years and may or may not need any longer. So we're going to go through and evaluate those things and see what it is that we can get rid of so that the park doesn't become one of the site cleanliness issues. So unfortunately, when we went to set up the pools at the family center, and the children's play area, we discovered that a lot of the connections of wood was split, and in investigating further, we found that below ground level the wood was rotted, and it was at a stage where we didn't feel that it was safe. So we removed the equipment, and we have it out for bid, looking for new play equipment for that area. Glenn has set up some small items that kids can play in, and he's also bringing in the balloon man and to entertain the children and so forth. The family center will not be open this weekend, but and that's really an employee issue. But the pools will be. Additionally, we went down to hang ladders on the docks so that there was a ladder on both sides of the dock so that the ladder could be accessed in an emergency. And we discovered that the dock is pretty rotted and failing. And so we've put out asking for bids for a new dock facility. And so that will get replaced. It's not unsafe at the present time, but it's, again, one of those doors that we open and to find, that it hasn't been taken care of. It's just one of those issues. The stuff is getting worn out. So in terms of sales, we're looking at a lot of this stuff of improving the park to make the park more attractive and more inviting, and that certainly seems to be working. DMT has over 30 sale pendings on the board right now, and it's even hard to get to talk to anybody down there because they've been really busy. So there's a huge interest in the park, and what we're seeing is that everybody's property values and membership values are increasing continuously. So, current state of COVID. I've been following this every week. I report at each of the board meetings, and I look at tribal results, which affects us right here, and sort of an indicator of what we're experiencing. So in the park over the entire period, we've had 7 reported cases of COVID, and the rangers worked with these people to help them, to get them things, to help them isolate and so forth. All of those circumstances turned out really well. A couple of weeks ago when we looked at it, the tribe was, incidences were increasing. I'm happy to report this week that they're on the decline again. So in terms of overall, it's too early to say that COVID is over, but current indications all point to a lessening of the C-19 restrictions. CDC removed mask and social distancing recommendations for all who have been vaccinated. As case counts fall and hospitalizations dip below the recommended standard, the state of Washington has announced that we will go to a fully open status on June 30th or earlier. So it is our plan to be fully back operational by July 1st. So one of our problems, of course, again, is employment. We've been advertising for over 2 months for employees. One, we needed somebody to monitor the fitness center so we could get it open. We've abandoned that since we didn't get any employees, and they've removed the mask restrictions, and so the fitness center is open and operational daily. We were looking for employees to man the pools, and we were required to go to a reservation system. With the changes, we've abandoned the reservation system. We only have to do, until July 1st, only have to do number counts, restrict the number of people that are in the pools at any one time, and we still ran into the same problem, employees. We have a few people who have signed up as employees, so we went out and started looking for volunteers. We wanted the pools open, particularly for this Memorial Day weekend. And maintenance prepped all the pools. Everything's running. They did repairs and got them up going. And our plea for volunteers was successful. We have volunteers lined up who will work the pools for this 3-day weekend. So the pools are open as of 11 o'clock today. We see rays of optimism, and your PSCC Board of Directors are continually working on the future vision of the park. Together, I hope to implement their representation of member values, all working to bring back and improve the desirability of Port Citizen Camping Club. Your sites and membership, again, as I mentioned, are more valuable today than ever. So that's just sort of a encapsulation of what's occurred. There's been many other things that maintenance and the park and the rangers of the park have been working on, and you'll begin to see those. You certainly see some as you drive through the park today. So I want to thank all of the departments and their staffs for all their patience through these trying times. I watched time after time when they would go out of their way to be helpful and considerate. Maintenance out day and night on calls for repairs. Rangers, exceptional 911 responses. They're out 24/7, carrying the water for members and guests day and night. DMT's consistent expertise on all matters about the park and sales. The member service staff in the admin building daily providing member solutions, and my staff, whom without I could not function. Volunteers, who are the soul of the club like this, tirelessly contributing day after day, week after week, asking only for a smile and an occasional thank you. I must acknowledge my board liaison, Deb Axman. She has been invaluable to me in the park. I thank the vision and support of the board I'm blessed to have and work with such great people. Lastly, I wish to thank you, the members. So many of you have stopped me to express your support and pass on positive reinforcement and contribute ideas. I cannot begin to tell you how much this is appreciated. So that made me feel really good. So lastly, looking on the positive side and what we accomplished, maybe in retrospect, this was really not such an exhausting year. So there will be a question period coming up, and I'll take questions then, and I really thank you and bless you all.
Thank you, Pat. The chair would like to make a number of comments just in closure on this. As you all heard, Pat listed an enormous number of challenges we've had in the past year. However, the number of successes are so extraordinary. All you have to do is look around you and look through the park at the astounding improvements that have been done just in this past year. A lot of that is due to the vision and dynamic leadership of Pat Jute. However, it could not have been done without the wisdom and vision of the membership who approved our dues increases and fee increases for the first time in years. So thank you all, and give yourself a round of applause. So we look forward to next year with a great deal of optimism, knowing that whatever comes our way, we can prevail. Thank you. moving right along. It's almost the enchanting hour of 11 o'clock. I may have misspoke earlier, when electronic voting will close. We've got about 5 minutes, so anybody who hasn't voted, run right out and vote.
It stopped at 10.
It stopped at 10?
It stopped at 10.
Okay, I misspoke again. It stopped at 10. We're going to get some sort of it probably stopped a couple of hours ago, but who knows? It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Doesn't matter. It be done now. And as soon as Jacob gets response, we'll announce it. We're going to go on to miscellaneous business right now. It's time for member comments. So get ready if you have things to comment about. We're arranging it. Hold on. You ready, guys? Jacob, you okay? Okay. Now's the time for member comments. Please approach the microphone and state your name and site number. According to our standing rules of order, your remarks are limited to 3 minutes. We will time you. You may only speak a second time if there are no more people waiting to speak the first time, he says as he's holding up his script. The recording secretary will take notes on the comments, Bill, wherever you are, and it'll become an addendum to the minutes. Okay. Comments. Step up to the microphone. Comments. Somebody's got to break the thing. Come on. All right. Name and site. Name and site.
My name's Christine. I'm Site 598. And I just want to say that my hubby and I, we're just loving seeing the nice signs out at the front and the laundromat and the mail room. It's just so pretty in here. We're loving the improvements, and it's kind of changing the character a little more of the park. And I want to say upscale, but I mean that in a better way. Like, it looks like, you know, we really have something to offer here. And so I just want to thank our wonderful park manager and the board and for all those people that voted for the increases. And anyway, I just wanted to share that. I have no complaints.
Thank you, ma'am. And I wanted her to go on and on the way she was talking. Any other comments? Come right up to the microphone, state your name and your site number.
Jenny from 1217, and I just want to acknowledge Jacob for all the work he's done.
Any more accolades before we go to the people that are grumpy and come on down? Wait, Deb.
Thank you. During this Jerry Delisle, 978 Mermaid, 96 Copper Bell, 97 Copper Bell. I'm the one that always has all the crazy Christmas decorations. And the flying pig made out of a propane tank at our place on Mermaid. So, with that, I want to tell you, during this horrific time of COVID, I felt we lived in the safest, most beautiful place we could have asked for. And the Port Susan staff and the rangers, they always made me feel safe, and I'm sure that you felt that way too. So just want to give an extra special thank. And glory be, we can start booging down again.
Thank you, Jerry. Deb?
Yeah, I have a question to Vanita. Vanita, I'm sorry, Debbie Marshall. This question's for
number, please.
Vanita. So,
Deb, site number?
I don't want to give it out. I don't need
Go
to.
ahead.
So, on the sheet that you handed out, it shows that the grid is rolled in to the, it's not a profit and loss, it's a revenue and expense. But if you back out the grid information, can I continue, please? Can I continue? So my question is, if you back it out, right now it currently shows that we have a loss of 13,000 and some change. But if you back the grid information out, we actually show a profit of over $700,000. Is that true? So, either Vanita or Pat.
Vanita? Pat, do you want to do it, or is Vanita? Go ahead, Pat.
You want the
Wait a
mic?
minute, get a mic.
He can use this one.
It's about time that Jacob ran around for a little bit.
So, Debbie, your appraisal is accurate, except where would that $700,000 come from to pay for the money we didn't collect for the grid?
What do you mean? Where would it come from?
Well, Port Susan made up the difference of what we didn't collect to pay for the grid, so it was actually an expense in this past year. So that's what the statement reflects.
Isn't the grid supposed to be totally getting a loan itself?
It's part of a Port Susan operation. Somebody had to pay that money. Port Susan paid it, so we put it on the statement. And the grid is accounted for on a separate sheet. It's in the package that you have in your hand. And then there's a complete capsulation of the entire grid project from its start, showing how much we did not collect in an assessment to pay for the grid. It's all money that had to be borrowed from Port Susan. So the money we spent this year, it cost us over $700,000 more to do the grid work than what we collected. It was why the assessment was increased, so this coming year we won't have that same experience.
Any other comments? Of course, Vicky, come on down. Wait. Name and site number.
Hi, Vicky.
Hi. Do I have to look this way?
Yes, my dear.
I wanted to talk to them. I'm Vicki Wantland, 677 Domino, and as of today, 1764 Acorn.
Yes, you are.
Yay.
All right.
Okay, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to thank you so much for acknowledging those that have died the last couple of years. I don't make many of these meetings because I've usually been down in Yuma and traveling, but I don't recall a board doing that before. Doesn't mean they haven't, but I'm really grateful to you for doing that. And it's a shock that so many people have died in the last 2 years here. Anyway, thank you very much. And thank you for the demeanor that I'm feeling here of how you're setting up the meeting. And Bill, you make us feel comfortable. Thank you. At least me. Hey.
Thank you, Miss Vicky.
Now, later on, now that I'm becoming a real member, you'll hear from me again because they cut me off years ago and wouldn't let me speak at meetings. That ain't going to happen because I'll be a member. That's why you guys took so long to let me transfer.
So this will be the end of you speaking at meetings from now on, Vicky. We'll never let you in the door. Any other comments? We have another one. Please step up to the microphone and give your name and site number.
Kelly. That's fine. Well, whatever. Doesn't matter. My name's Kelly, and I'm curious about if we're ever going to get the recycling back. I mean, Washington State is a recycling state. Are we ever going to get the recycling so that we can get it back here, please?
Pat will answer.
And explain maybe why or why not.
So this year, well, let's go to past years. The recycling did not work. We didn't have a a recycle load that actually got recycled. The reason was that members would continue to deposit in the recycling bins non-recyclable items. When they would go to check, they would classify it all as garbage and go dump it and charge us an exorbitant rate. We tried to police it. We did cameras, we did infractions, we did everything possible to control the recycle bin so that it would be recyclable material and it would go where it should. When it failed and continuously failed, we went and said, the board considered it, said that's it, we're done with recycling. And so we eliminated the recycling bins at a savings this past year of over $50,000. And so we are discussing right now of trying to bring back cardboard recycling. Again, if you mess up the cardboard recycling bins, then that material won't be acceptable to the recyclers either, and we'll wind up paying a garbage fee for it. But we are in discussions right now about trying to set that up. If it works, then we'll look at bottle and canned recycling. But it just costs the park way too much money, and we never wound up with anything that was recyclable.
Thank you, Pat. Come on down.
Gene Bragg, 2370, 2110, and Club 50. This is more of an advertisement and a thank you. Club 50 has been doing taco takeout since May, I think it was, no, it was March. And we've had a great response, but the past couple of weeks have been excellent. I want to thank all the volunteers that I've had. A lot of them are here today. And we're going to continue takeout until the end of June because we're waiting for the club to be cleaned. Once we get that done, then we will open it up for indoor eating. And we'll have the patio cleaned, I hope, so we can do outdoor cleaning or eating. Clean, eat.
Outdoor cleaning, good. Thanks, Gene.
But the tacos have been doing great, and I want to thank everybody for their support. And like I said, the volunteers have been fantastic, and we hope to keep it going. And as far as the club goes, once we open up, like Pat said, the pool and the hot tub are not going to be open because of the problems in the pool room. But once we get that open, then I will announce it in the Facebook and online, or mooring lines. So keep an eye out for those. And the next taco night is on June 14th. Yeah, June 14th. So come on down. All the meat, everything that we serve is prepared that day. It's not canned and thrown into a microwave. So come on down and enjoy. They're wonderful. We've gotten good comments on them, and we're just going to keep it going and have a great time. Thank you.
Thanks, Gene. Anybody else want to make a comment? Come on down. Name and site number, please.
Hi, I'm Josh Wilson, 10059 Castaway. I just have a simple question. I heard there was...
Close to the microphone, sir.
Okay. So I just had a basic question. I heard there was a room... I don't think it's a rumor, but I don't know if this is the right place to speak to it, but I heard there was fiber internet going to be installed over the course of the next year or two in phases, and I was wondering if there's any info on that.
Say it again.
Yep. So I just had a question on fiber internet. I heard it was coming out in stages, and I was just wondering if there was an ETA.
So, hi, my name is Jay Wikukuk. I do all the kind of tech things. So I'm currently in communications with Salish Networks, and we're working on a final timeline. At the moment, we're looking at probably between 1 and 210 for the site numbers, but we're kind of revisiting that so that way we could offer pre-orders. The stages for a lot of the back park areas, it's probably going to be a while. The plans that they're going to be offering, there'll be 3 different ones with various download speeds and various upload speeds. But basically how it's going to be done is you're going to get a customer router that gets put on your power pedestal, and then they're going to run the fiber to it, and then it's up to you to run it from that power pedestal to your RV. They can do it. They will charge you extra for it. We will be sending out updates once we start taking pre-orders.
Okay, thank you.
We currently do not have a time frame because we're working on Salish finalizing what their plan is. But we'll send out that timeline once we have it.
We don't have control over Salish. Yes, sir. Come on down. Name and site number, please.
David, 598. And since we're exploring about the new dock, possibly looks like it's going to be down in the future, could we add bench seats to that? Because for many years I've been asking about that. And maybe we can use the reclaimed wood to do that. You know, someone's constructive enough to make bench seats.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments? Come on down. This young lady and then you, sir.
Pretty dog.
Nice dog.
I'm Paula, 45, and my question is about the meter reading. I've had a couple of years where I ended up with a pretty big bill in a unit I didn't even live in, so I would like to know if that's being addressed.
Thank you. Next, sir.
You want an answer?
Wait a minute, an answer. Wait, before Pat will answer.
Sorry.
Wait, sir, hold on. Pat, go ahead.
So I wrote a piece that went into the mooring lines, I believe, and it involved the meters and the issues that we've had recently with meter reading. The grid portions that have been completed have all new meters. The meter system consists of 2 meters and an electronic digital meter that's inside the box and an exterior analog meter that reproduces or is supposed to reproduce the reading on the inside of the box. Our meter reader goes and reads that external meter. The have had new meters in going back about 3 years since the beginning of the project, and so some of them haven't been in some time. We discovered in the last reading that the outside meter and the inside meter were not the same. Not in all cases, but in a lot of cases. And the outside meter was never more than the inside meter, it was always less. And what that was an indication of is that you had been billed for, you had not been billed for power that you had consumed. So the last reading and your last bill was not representative of the 2 months that it is typically represents. It was representative of the entire period of time that the 2 meters have been different. We went to reading this last reading, we went to reading the inside meter, and as a result of having discovered this difference, we called in the manufacturer. The manufacturer is the largest builder of the meters in the world, and they are the most reliable. The inside digital meter is independently tested and certified by an outside company before they're put out in the market. And so they have come in and assessed the problem with the outside meters and are in the process, and you may see them around the park because they've sent factory representatives here and they've been here for a number of days. Assessing the meters, they have indicated to us they're going to replace all of the exterior meters and the doors that they're in.
Pat, would you hold for a minute?
Sure.
Jacob, will you get this gentleman a chair so he doesn't have to stand? It's my fault for not hearing properly.
That's me?
That's okay. It was my fault for making you stand, sir. So at least we could do.
So
go ahead, Pat.
The meter issue is in process, and if we find that there is something different than what I'm explaining, then we'll announce that. The manufacturer is taking responsibility both from the standpoint of replacing them and financial responsibility for the costs that the park has incurred as a result of this. This time of the year, coming out of winter, we have always gotten an indication from members that their meter reading is high. And so we send out do rereads to verify that that's accurate. That's one of the steps that you can take. But the biggest step is if you determine that you feel that your meter reading is wrong and that you're losing electricity into the ground or someplace else, is a simple thing to do. Unplug your load, your trailer, and any other load that you might have plugged into that box on your site. Walk out and look at your meter. If the meter continues to run, it's a Port Susan problem. If it stops, it's your problem. In other words, you're losing power through your trailer. I've invited everybody to call me if they have a problem, and I've had a number of calls on this issue, and each time we've gone through this exercise of unplugging the trailer and going and looking at the meter to see if it's still running. In every case so far, the meter has quit running. And what that means is that embarkation point where you plug your trailer in, there is not a problem up to that point. The problem exists beyond it. And we find that any number of issues in RVs contribute to excessive electrical use. And maintenance, talk to maintenance. They'll be happy to come out and help you go through that process to see if we can determine if it's a Port Susan problem or a problem in your trailer.
So the bottom line in all of this is we're working very hard to correct these issues, and it's a complicated thing, but we're working on it every day. Now, sir, sorry to keep you waiting.
That's okay. I forgot why I came up here anyway.
Name.
Coffee.
Name and site number.
I'm Stan, 1774 and 5. And my neighbor and friend works at Boeing Graveyard. And he wants to know, along with some of those more righteous people that live near the back gate, and we are more righteous back there, when are we going to get 24/7 open back there, Patrick? Thanks. Thanks for the chair.
Would you like to respond to that, Mr. Jute?
So originally the back gate was closed because of COVID. And we had to get our arms around who was coming into the park, how they were coming into the park, and so forth. And the back gate was a point of abuse. In other words, piggybacking, following somebody else in, waiting until the gate opened and come in. We've even had people come in the outbound gate when somebody's gone out and that gate winds up open. We had not monitored the back gate past 6 o'clock under normal circumstances. When we went back to operation, we decided to do that with a ranger on duty, so there's somebody on duty at the back gate to try to stem the traffic coming in and out who are not carding and not registered and so forth. I could answer your question, Stan, by saying never, but the real answer is being able to take care of that other 8-hour shift that the inbound gate is closed. And as we move down into a more stable situation with COVID, and we can find people who are interested in being rangers, that I will make a recommendation that that other 8-hour shift be filled so that we can monitor the back gate both in and out as we do the front gate.
Thank you, Pat. Next.
Thank you, Mr. Bill Diebenbach. My name is Larry Thompson. I have 1992 and 2106. Regarding the boat dock or anything else that's being built here, if it could be made a rough cut, we could take 3 logs out of the burn pit, saw them up, board them up, be a hell of a lot cheaper than the lumber company, I would think. Saw them do that in wild Alaska. They went and some guy was taking his own chainsaw. And, you know, seems to me that would be a lot cheaper than board foot buying it nowadays, especially with the wood. I think 3 logs would probably do it. Anyway, regarding the back gate also, as far as the fence line along the back road, doesn't look good. There's been places where people have cut the fence and gone through, and then I tell them about it, they mend it, and then they just cut it open again. And then there's little grooves where trees have fallen through the fence on the roadside down into the park. It'd be nice if we fixed that. I could, maybe even donate some poles to put it back up again. That's it, and thank you for being a wonderful place to live.
As you all may have noticed, Larry is an entertainer in his other lifetime. Yes, Ann, go ahead.
Ann Biggs, I'm at 621 Eagle. I just wanted to let you guys know that we are really looking forward to doing a lot of activities this summer. Since we didn't get to do a lot last summer, we are going to try and make sure that we have plenty to do this summer. So we have a craft fair coming up. We're going to be doing sorry, my mind just went blank. We are going to be doing movies here in the park. We are going to be doing a lot of different things. We have dances coming back. We have karaoke coming back. And we're hoping to do a lot of other things, including here in the field and at the clubs. So if you have any ideas for us, we'd love to hear them. Please let me know, and if I can get it done, believe me, I'd love to do them. So let's have a great summer.
Thank you, Ann. Anybody else? Any comments? One more, 2 more. Wait. Why don't we let the lady go first? Name and site.
Teresa, 1098. Storage lot rates, are they going to go up, stay the same?
Pat?
By a vote of the board last year, the rates were to increase the first of this fiscal year. They actually doubled. It's part of our efforts to clean up the storage lots, to make them more workable and understandable. We have been able to designate shorter areas and reduce the annual rate. Again, on a 40-foot site, we went from $250 annually to $500 annually. We had a member who chose to leave the storage area. He moved his items into a storage area in Marysville, and instead of paying the $500 annual fee, he's now paying $2,400.
Sounds like a great financial decision. Now, sir.
Hi, Brad.
Brad Fletcher, 2377 Pheasant. I'm just interested, is the cafe ever going to open back up again?
Good question. Pat?
So we're in discussions right now about revamping that segment of the adult center, namely the cafe. If you go over there, you see that there's some fence moved around. We're looking at how we can make the court area outside more attractive and user-friendly for people who want to use the cafe. And We have been working on cleaning the interior, and we have hired a company to do deep cleaning in the cafe area and adult center and Club 50 so that they can all be prepared for use. So to answer your question about the cafe, it's in process. We're hoping to open it. We're looking at what that might look like and how it could be attractive, more attractive to members and attract more people.
Thank you, Pat. Any other comments before we move on to talk about the electronic election? Oh, wait a minute. Judy, you want to say something? Carrying her computer with her, not a surprise.
My separate notes. Judy Johnson, 2322 and 2329. And yeah, everything's looking much better, and thank you all, and we really appreciate it. One extra thing that if anybody gets even halfway caught up in maintenance, can we ask that they resume taking the truck around with long goodies and clipping the branches that come down over the roads and come in from the side? You can't get a big motorhome down some of the side roads. I know that the main roads look beautiful, but the loop roads still need quite a bit of work because I don't want my dish antenna scraped off, and so some roads I just have to avoid. Thank you.
Yeah, I misunderstood. Thank you, Judy. One more comment? Come on down. Name and site.
Hi, my name is Jules Summers. I live at 1474. And I just had a question about, because they have done the grid, like my driveway has become very wet, and I did call them and they did come out and help. But I just wondered if there was a plan where maybe the water isn't draining so well, if they're going to look at that. That's one aspect to what I wanted to say. And then two other things are, I just wanted to compliment the park because I feel like the rangers are a lot more approachable. They're a lot more, transparent. Everybody's a lot more transparent. I see good things going on. And lastly, I just want to acknowledge that we do have a tribal elder here. Thank you, Donald Pinocatch, for being here. And if we could also, incorporate some of the tribal aspect into like the welcoming building and things like that. I know that we were doing that at the front gate, and I appreciate that. So it's just an ongoing thing that we should be acknowledging. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir. Comment? Name and site.
Yes, I'm Patrick Crispin, 2227 and 2222 Kitten. My question, one of the questions, and mostly the board, is one of them, is this a nonprofit organization?
Not for profit.
It's a nonprofit organization.
Not for profit.
What's the difference?
Can I?
Go ahead, Deb.
It is a not-for-profit. It's a 501c7.
Okay,
A
there-
nonprofit is a 501c3, and according to Washington state law, unless you meet certain criteria, you cannot be a 501c3. You have to be a 501c7, which is recreational.
Right.
Recreational is 501c7.
Okay. Are we able to apply for grants from the government?
That would depend on the grant. There's a lot of different variables.
Yeah, but is it?
There are some,
Yes.
We
if
keep
could-
looking into that.
Yeah,
Yes.
that would be a good thing if we could get a grant to help out, and so the members don't have to put forth all the expenses. Kind of get a grant in on that.
Right.
Okay. Second thing is, why is everything starting from the main gate? All the grid, everything starts from the main gate and works back, and so we feel like ugly stepchildren down at the back gate.
You're not ugly. You guys
Feel
are not
proud
ugly.
that you're back there.
You're not ugly stepchildren. We love you.
Okay.
One more thing.
One more comment. I'm really happy that the park is doing there. Everybody is really cordial. I've had dealings with maintenance, and and the Rangers and so forth, and I'm just really happy to be here.
Thank you.
Mr. Crispin, I'd like to address your questions about starting at the front and the back of the park. So we've found the members in the back to be very special, and when we arrive back there with our projects, you always have the newest stuff.
Yes, sir. Nice dog.
I know, I like the dog. I might take it.
Name and site.
Hi, I'm Bill Middleton, 1142 and 43 Drum. I'm asking a question about, I know the electric grids are going in and all that. Electric cars are kind of a thing now. I'm just wondering if there's any chance that a park might look into putting something in that would charge the car faster. And I mean, actually, you could charge money for it, so it could pay for itself. Just an idea. Thanks.
Thank you.
I think we're a little bit behind the curve on that. It's going to be a while. Any other comments? If we have no other comments, we can move to the next phase of this meeting. Unfortunately, the votes from electronic voting are so slow in getting here that we may not have any results for years, maybe millennia. I am kidding, obviously. We have already received the results of the election. Are you ready? $869 votes were cast. I think that's a new record. I will read the votes received in alphabetical order as Ann has underlined, and then we'll declare the persons who have been selected. Are you ready? Randy Berry, 279 votes. Stacy Coldry, 232 votes. The young puppy in back gets a couple of votes. Tom Hembry, 422 votes. Judy Johnson, 148 votes. Scott Murphy, 524 votes. Nancy Phillips, 502 votes. Terrell Riley, 301 votes. On the basis of the votes, I declare the following elected as Board of Directors for 3-year terms. Scott Murphy, Nancy Phillips, and a newbie to the board, Tom Hembry. Round of applause. And we want to thank Terrell for her service last year.
Thank you. Could I make a comment there, Mr. President? Mr. President.
Yes.
I'm not going to give you a number. I'm going to say my name is Don Hatch. The reservation is my lot. I'm going to let you know that. This whole place is my lot. But I'm going to tell you, I look at my general council meetings. I'm talking to the membership. I'm talking to my board here. There's pluses and minuses. I wished that when somebody, and I think what's happening now, and I've seen this in the past, people are scared to come up and say the negatives. Because there's people that, take some kind of things and want to harass them. Well, and it has been done in the past here. At our tribe, we don't allow that to happen because we take care of that problem. But I noticed this whole meeting was all positive, and I appreciate the general manager and all the positive things he had and what was going on. the thing that I think should, one of the things more positive out of us here to you, number one, we should have knew it was 10 o'clock stoppage or 11 o'clock stoppage. That's our fault. That's our fault here. We all have to take that blame. Because when you tell us a stoppage and it's somebody who wants to go down there and it's stopped at 10 and they want to go down at 10:30, then you can't vote. Then you guys are, somebody's upset. So we got to make sure. And one of the comments was made that we're going to talk to the ones that are enjoying things, and the grumpy ones can come last. And no, I'm serious. When you run a meeting here, you run it professionally to make sure that each one of you are accepted here. And each one of you have the power to, as one member, to be able to say what you feel, when you feel it, and how you feel it, other than criticizing and having a personal grudge against somebody. But I think right now everything is getting a little bit better, but it's the idea I think we as a board have to be able to construct ourselves more professionally what we do and make sure we take care of you as the members a lot better than it's been happening. Because I've been here since when Roberts built this place. I was on the tribal council when we made this happen. And when you say this is a good place to live, it is a good place to live. But it's each one of you. I'm going to tell you, one of the biggest fears I have, and because you couldn't get insurance here, is fires. Each one of you members have to be eyes and ears for looking left, right, and in front and see who's living there and who's building a fire, shouldn't be building a fire, and have a right to report it right away. Because the biggest fear I have, and I had it last year when all these fires are going, especially in Bonnie Lake and different places in the state of Washington, especially in western Washington, was that it ever started here, you'd probably kill a lot of people besides trying to get out of here. You got to take care of each other and make sure none of those things happened. And make sure that, everybody does what should happen. And there will be nothing happening here that's going to hurt anybody. I want to thank you for sitting up here and be able to do this with my friend Jenny here is like my daughter here, and she's really does a good job to help me out. Legally, I'm blind, so I can't tell any one of you who is there. So when I come in here, I can't really tell who you are. But there's something in the last 6 months I've been doing here. A friend of mine, Don White's good friend up here, and a group of, I think about 5, is that correct, Don? We've been hauling in food here from the place on my truck and bringing it here. And bringing it to all the ones, the elders, elder. I'm not talking about the young ones that can walk up here fast and walk back there fast. I'm hoping that it goes to them. I'm going to ask Don who the other ones are, but Don should have a round of applause, but the ones that are helping him should have a round of applause for all the things they did for the last 6 months, because it's once a week we get that stuff, and they have to carry that around. And we don't, and I said I was going to do this today if I'm going to be here. We need more younger people to help Don and the group that's there, because they're all Don's age or older that does that, carries those big boxes, brings it to the elders. And I think each one of you should have a little guilt on how and what you're doing to help these ones in need. And I'm going to turn it over to Don White, because he has a group of people that help and do a tremendous job of passing food out here in Port Susan to the needy, because that's why we did it, my friend and I, is because there's people here that are really living on really a small...
Excuse me, Don, let's have a round of applause for Donnie White and his helpers. Marty, Tom.
Can you name?
Thank you.
I want him to name them off. I want Don to name off all the helpers that's doing it.
Please do that, Donnie.
I'll start out with my main girl over there, Marty, Tom, my good friend Ronnie, he's in Tennessee right now. He helps every Tuesday. Cam helps me every Tuesday or every chance he gets. And I got to give applause for maintenance, because when I don't have enough help, I go down and I ask John, hey, you got a couple of guys that'll help me unload some food? And he goes, I'll see what I can do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And by the way, when we're saying thank you to maintenance, we don't say thank you enough to our rangers who are really there when we need them. So how about a round of applause for our rangers?
Before I'm done, after I got cut off here, and I didn't appreciate that, because when I spoke and being an elder, I never got cut off as an elder. And I didn't appreciate this right now, getting cut off right now. But I want to thank you for all the things that all the volunteers that do things. I'm talking about the ones that are not getting paid. Don White and the ones that pass that food around. That's what I'm referring to. I don't, ones that clean up and do all the things to get the money. I'm talking about the ones that are volunteer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hatch. Moving right along. We're going to move into congratulations to our newly elected directors and continuing directors. And I'd like you all to rise, the three of you, all directors, right? All directors? All directors? Okay. All directors, would you please rise? I'm going to give you the oath of office. Everybody up?
You got to stand up too.
I'm not going to stand. All right, repeat after me. As a director, I state your name. Raise your hand. I, as a director, state your name. Do hereby solemnly swear and affirm that I shall protect, preserve, support, and uphold the bylaws and rules and regulations of the Port Susan Camping Club. I shall put aside personal preference and keep the overall interests of the club uppermost in my mind and actions at all times. You may be seated. You are the newly elected board of directors. Congratulations to you all. Are there any other announcements? I think, by the way, I would like to say that this electronic voting thing is really cool. We had election results immediately. All right. A very brief informal gathering of the board of directors will immediately follow, and we'll just chat for a while. There's going to be no formal action taken because this isn't a formal meeting, and unless there's an objection, the posting of the results, I don't have to read that. Thank you. The business of the annual meeting is completed, and the meeting is adjourned. Good job, gang. What?
They're saying you didn't do a report.
I did. I made some comments.